In our morning rounds, the power of the eye. One of the world's leading law enforcement groups is taking photographic memory to a different level. Mark Phillips reports on a new vision for catching the bad guys.
Good morning. Well, the London police here at Scotland Yard, like the police everywhere, use all kinds of technology to solve crimes. DNA evidence, modern forensics, fingerprints. But they've also discovered that the best tool, in fact, may be the oldest tool, the human eyeball. But not all eyeballs, it seems, are the same. They discovered something they weren't expecting at Scotland Yard a couple of years ago. During the week of street rioting and looting that was the lowlight of the London summer of 2011, much of the lawlessness was captured on security cameras. But unless those breaking the law could actually be identified, the images were useless as a policing tool. Much vaunted computer facial recognition software was supposed to be able to spot the faces of known criminals in the crowd.
By the human eye.
Except, according to Detective Chief Inspector McNeville, something else worked better.
We had 4,000 images. We put them through the facial recognition software. It picked out one suspect. I've got one officer here who's here today, PC Gary Collins. He picked out 180 suspects. So the human is 180 times better than the magic machine.
This is Police Constable Gary Collins. You can call him Hawkeye. He has now identified more than 600 suspects for all sorts of crimes over the years. Suspects no other person or machine managed to spot. He never stops. You're always on.
You are, and then it becomes sort of an addiction, obsessive.
But how does he do it? It just comes naturally. Do you know what you're looking at?
It can be many different things, really. Obviously, it becomes...
All he knows is he's got the knack and the title. He's a super recognizer. And the trick for Scotland Yard has been to identify others.
I'm going to ask you to do 4 different tests today.
They're working with a psychologist, Dr. Josh Davis, to try to find other police officers who are also good at it. Do you know why some people are good at it and some people not so much?
There does seem to be some evidence that it might be some sort of genetic inheritance, maybe in the genes, because face recognition ability does appear to run in families to some extent, yes.
Then they take these so-called super recognizers and have them look at hundreds of photos of the unidentified suspects of various crimes. Or they look at moving security cam footage, this one of an assault. Getting the best recognizers and the most pictures in the same place seems to work. In this one-day session, they identified 250 suspects.
No one else in the world does it. And I recommend to other police forces, use your officers in this way. Make sure you've got the images and you show them and then you track them through, and your images will be as effective as fingerprints and DNA.
The ability to identify suspects from images is now considered such an effective tool that the police are now developing tests to be able to recruit people who come from that top 1 or 2% of the population, which is better at it than everybody else. For CBS This Morning, I'm Mark Phillips at Scotland Yard.